Hello, welcome to another episode of the Crefts Couch Pod. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about training your attention because it has been something that I have recently recommitted, if you will, and had so many more awarenesses of where it was really benefiting me when I was just kind of naturally focusing on it. And then what happened when I let it go, and now what I'm choosing as I recommit to it. So before I dive in, I want to share a few housekeeping things, 2 things that are coming up very soon in 2023, which I am so excited about. I am relaunching Choosing You, and this time it is Choosing You Live. So if you were in it before as Exploring Your Purpose, then you're an OG, or maybe you purchased the course alone and it's been this kind of standalone thing that you've gone through by yourself. I'm bringing it back in a new way. Each time it comes, it's like a new identity. Now, for folks that don't know, Choosing You is my 4-course, like one-stop shop, everything you could ever need for healing program. Because I just got that I kept seeing like people needing to piecemeal their healing, and people just really needed all the information in one spot. Everything about nervous system, everything about trauma, about boundaries, the mother wound, like healing your inner child, energy tools that I'm obsessed with, abundance, manifestation, getting clear on your purpose, just all of those things. Subconscious reprogramming, oh my gosh, I can't even name it all. There's so much in there, and really intentionally chosen the order and the tools that I now, over 13 years of work in the field, have seen really create dynamic change in people. And this is something for folks when they join my one-on-one, either 3 or 6 month programs that they get access to, because it's just so life-changing to have this information on the side so that we can go deep in our one-to-one sessions. So as I've mentioned, I've run this as a group program as well because I just know how beneficial this information is. So what's happening this round is we are launching in January. We're starting January 4th, and it's going to be 8 weeks. 8 weeks of recommitting if you already have the materials, or maybe you're new to it. So a 2-month journey to really just dive in, dive off the deep end, jump in, get messy, and get a little uncomfortable. Because ultimately, that's where we can start to create some change. So the Choosing You Live is live because it will have an active community as well as 4 hot seat facilitation calls. And right now I'm doing this seriously at an insane price. I've discounted the course 50% off. It's normally a $2,000 course alone. And the Choosing You Live program, along with the 2 months with me, the 4 calls, is going to be $1,333. So $1,333. So that's for folks who don't have the course or don't have any of it whatsoever. If you have Choosing You or Exploring Your Purpose, then you are welcome to join us if you want to recommit to this, refocus on your healing, the foundation, because those basics are huge. And for those folks, you just pay for the calls, $333. Insane. I normally charge quite a bit more for live calls. And there's a couple reasons for that, but one is when we have some skin in the game, meaning financial investments, we tend to show up differently. We tend to be more present. Some folks are able to get whatever they need out of free content, right? Some folks are. I myself know that I need to spend a little bit more to really, I don't want to say take it seriously, but show up and receive the information differently. So if you're one of those people, I get it. I get you. So the calls are really discounted in that sense because I get everything that's going on right now, and folks still really need the healing. So And if you are somebody who has like part of choosing you, like just the nervous system course or just subconscious reprogramming, email us at support@crefscouch.com and we can send you a separate link to kind of get you up to, the full program, upgrade you to the full program, depending on what you already have. So that is going to start January 4th. And again, if you're ready for like the one-stop shop or you're ready to recommit, that is for you. All right, the other thing I want to share with you, which is brand new, and then we'll jump into the content of today, is I am introducing my brand new subscription, the Nervous System Sanctuary. And I am beyond juiced about this. I'm so excited about this one because it's been something I've been hearing over and over again where folks know the tools, right? Maybe even have my nervous system course. You know the tools. I do a lot of guided meditations, hypnoses, tappings, all sorts of stuff, breath work in there. You know the tools, but you have a hard time committing to it, right? Isn't that the thing? I mean, I've even found myself recently, really loving going to yoga and Pilates, as I've mentioned, because it's like, I just have to show up. I show up and they tell me what to do. And that's what I love. Just I don't have to think about it. Just show up. And that's my commitment, right? That's the energy I can put into it. I get up, I show up, right? I don't have to go to the gym and think about what am I going to do and what stretches and blah, 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 none of that, right? And so I was like, there's something really powerful about that, right? Where we can take off the emotional labor of having to choose it for ourselves and just commit to something. And so this is what the Nervous System Sanctuary is you committing to an experience to practice the tools regularly, right? Because if you've listened to my previous episodes probably that I've talked about this so much now, is that we really want to practice nervous system stuff like hygiene. We want to practice it regularly because just a few minutes a day has huge impact. However, we tend to discount that as not super relevant because it should be more complicated or something. And so it's like the hard part for folks is to just do it, So what we're going to do in the sanctuary and how it's because it's inaugural. So we're going to give this a go and see where it lands as things always morph and change. But how we're starting off is weekly half-hour live guided calls by me. Half-hour live calls where I'm going to guide you through a live meditation, a live tapping, a live breath work, a live, something that is nervous system regulating, right? So these aren't like teaching or coaching calls. They're going to be live guided calls. How does it get better than that? All you got to do is show up. And because I'm launching this at an inaugural thing, we are starting at $9, $9.99 a month. That's it. That is it. Cancel anytime, but why would you want to? Because, we need this nervous system stuff forever, right? That price is going up January 1st. I'm not sure what it's going up to yet, $15 or $19, but if you are in my current Courage to Choose membership, if you're an inaugural member, you know that it was of high benefit to you to get in because now the price is like 3 times the amount of what it was inaugurally. So if it's pinging you at all, this is it, right? It's like time to commit, to show up. Even if you can't make the live calls, that weekly ping to choose it will be that kind of constant friendly reminder to continue to choose nervous system stuff, right? And of course, I would love for you to join live calls because that energy is just so magical. So that's what's coming up. All right, you know where to find all of that information. Will be on my social media and link in my bio. And I will absolutely put this in the show notes as well. So let's dive in a little bit to this whole idea of training your attention and why I'm talking about this and what I've really noticed. We all know the importance of focusing our attention, but it's like I forget it sometimes. I've heard this idea a lot, and I've recently just gotten another embodied lesson of it. So before I would say launched Crefts Couch, I was on social media, but before I launched my business, I was in an era of doing a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza meditations. That was the season. I was doing the crazy long 2-hour meditations. To let me know if you've done these before, because they're insane. But it was really, really helpful for me because this was probably still going through the pandemic, and just almost I was really needing to lean on meditation as, I would say, like as some coping, and as like I just needed to empower myself with something, right? We're going through this major collective trauma. A lot of people don't really know what's going on. And so I really beefed up my practices. And it's funny because I then, launched Crefts Couch and just kind of leapt into this unknown world of entrepreneurship with not a lot of expectations. And the first year really did a thing. Like, it was very expansive, abundant. And I started to not do those meditations as much, not train my attention as much. And I really started to get into access consciousness work. And access consciousness is quite different. And in the sense of meditation isn't really a thing with that, or there's not a lot of talk about focusing attention. There's a lot of other skills and amazing things about it. I talk about these tools constantly, and I adore the access material for that. And I just, I'm just kind of observing the process, right? I'm not saying like because I started doing access then things contracted, because I chose a lot of things in nearing the end of my first year of business. I started to focus my attention on how do I do business right? I got a lot of success without trying very hard in my mind. I put an effort, but it didn't feel like hard, so to speak. And I was just like, well, what's going on here? Because things started to contract in this second year, now looking back. And I noticed my attention was very much on how do I do business right? How do I do it right? And this is not enough. I need to expand more. I need to do more. How do I get more views, exposed, like all of that stuff. And I kind of started to fall into this focus on it's not enough energy. And when we start to come to some sort of conclusion or a point of view, that is reflected back to us in our reality. So it doesn't really matter what's going on outside of you, because that is old news. That's what you were vibrationally being before. And things just kind of continued to contract. I found it just harder to be creative, harder to create content, and all these things, versus before, ideas just kind of flowed out of me. And as I look back on this year, I was looking at where I was getting really specific and negative ultimately. So, especially if you follow the works of Abraham Hicks, they really talk about needing to go general when you're kind of in that negative space or you start to contract, and you can get specific when you feel good. Well, I was doing the opposite. I was doing specific and negative a lot of last year in like certain times. And it was the year of also me, wow, this is going to turn into like an exploration of 2022. It was also the year of me thinking that I needed to be something I wasn't. I showed up on social media for a long time of just kind of exploring who I was, and then had exposure and success with that, and then all of a sudden decided it needed to be different. I was like, you know what? I think I need to be a business coach, because that's where people, truly have success, whatever that definition is, and got away from just being me, right? And so when I came to that conclusion, things just started to contract, and I had to judge everywhere was it or wasn't it? I'm like, wait, am I really a business coach? Am I not a business coach? I mean, I put on business programs in my mind. I'm like, I work with a ton of entrepreneurs. So like that makes sense to like teach business, right? And although yes, like I have a lot to say regarding business. At the same time, it's not maybe at this stage what flows out of me with total ease. And I started to realize that, wow, I have really focused on, this needs to be hard, right? This needs to be hard to figure it out. I mean, I guess that's like another point of view that I'm still looking to let go of. So I've just really kept focusing on that. That was my year. That was the year, was 2022. I am going to expand, and now I'm the business coach, but it needs to be hard, but it's going to be hard. And that is what came about. Overall, although the business still did well, it didn't do more than the previous year. It actually did a bit less. And to me, that's a lot of information and awareness. Information that when you can look at something like that without judgment, then you can choose, right? Because if I started to go into all this judgment and what that means about me, I wouldn't be able, I'd have to like ignore the information, not look at it, or just go into a lot of shame. And I will say it's taken a couple months because I've observed this process for a while now, and I was definitely in a funk about it for a couple months. And I kept, again, trying to figure it out. Like, well, maybe it's just I need to learn business more, or I need to learn the right strategy, or I was like going into all of that. Until recently, I really got it, even when I teach, was that, no, I need to look at where is my attention? What am I focused on right now? I'm focused on what I've decided hasn't worked. I've focused on what I think is wrong. I've focused on what is not enough. And I've continued to kind of almost train myself to get into like a negative space about it, right? And then also activate my nervous system. And finally, I got to the place where I recognized, okay, this is not the vibe. This is not working. This is not changing things. It's actually continuing to contract things. So what else could I choose? And if anything's going to get my attention that I'm incongruent with my current self and my, where things are going, it's going to be something in my business, like financially or views or whatever. And so as much as I want to say, because I've pivoted and my social media accounts have kind of overall lost followers, and I was just seeking to see this as, okay, this is just interesting. I don't know exactly what this is right now, but what is going on? And my sense is because I went into all this contraction about it and what I think I should do and the points of view, right? And so now I'm literally, and I'm sharing this while I'm still in the middle of it, I would say, is that I'm consciously choosing to shift my attention to what will create greater, to feeling good. So it will be like moment to moment, day to day, where if I start to go into, oh my God, not enough people are watching or engaging, blah, 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 and it's like, nope, like stopping myself. Nope, I'm not going there. That's how I reframe. Nope, I'm not choosing that. And it feels a little uncomfortable because sometimes we kind of want to indulge in the like self-harm behavior and the emotional abuse. Anyone familiar? Yes. So it'll feel uncomfortable doing that. And then I look to, okay, what could I choose to feel good right now? So I'm not trying to problem solve. I'm getting out of it by shifting my attention. So right now, it's just shifting it generally. I recently joined a membership where it's basically live daydreaming sessions each week, and I adore it because it's exactly what I require right now, where it's going general, right? So it's training myself to go general, to stay general, And then if I start to go into emotions that contract, then I got to shift my focus. The idea here is that the kind of 101 of manifestation and actualization of your reality, which is your vibrational frequency is going to create the reality, right? So it doesn't matter what's going on outside of you ultimately. Yes, we can acknowledge, okay, maybe I've had a rough go at it, understand that, right? But when you get out of judgment and then you see what else can I choose, well, then I have to get pretty freaking assertive with myself to shift my focus, to shift to something else. Because you cannot solve your quote unquote problem from the vibrational frequency of the problem, right? If you're like, I gotta look at this problem, I gotta hate this problem some more, and then a solution will come to me. It's like, no, that's not when it comes. Solutions or inspired actions, so to speak, come when you are not looking at the problem, right? Because you are in a different emotional state. And so I was like, wow, okay, I actually need to retrain myself right now. I've gotten out of practice. And it's kind of like, I'm kind of going through this like glow up era, I would say right now, because I've been recommitting to some really foundational things. Like for me, it's been going to Pilates and yoga, almost daily. It's like my body is so used to that as a kid, being active as a dancer, that I really missed that from the past couple years. It was not as active, somewhat active, but not as much as my body really desires. And again, I get that it's the constant training that strengthens the muscle, whether it be my leg muscles or my brain muscle. And so this is where kind of my next step for me is, okay, I'm seeing the pain that I'm putting myself through. I'm seeing the pain that I'm choosing and the contraction that I'm choosing. So what could I choose here? Because some of my same old practices are not just doing it right now. So I got to mix it up. And so by doing that and shifting the energy, I've been recommitting to morning meditation. So for me, sometimes it's breath work or tapping or just, being present somehow. But it's been more of, nope, earplugs in, time to listen to this, as well as these kind of daydreaming sessions, which have been, again, so helpful in retraining my brain to strengthen the muscle, again, of focusing generally and of training myself to feel good, right? It's like, yes, we can say our brains were set up to problem solve, blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's fine and all, but guess what? We can train it to choose something else. I know when I commit to these types of practices, I feel the difference. I know it's different. So when I can just get to the place of, okay, it is okay that things went a certain way for a while and I tried different things and whatnot, because now I have another layer of an embodied lesson of how much this changes me. And so by focusing my attention more generally right now and more on just feeling good, right? So it's like I just want to do that daily so that starts to become my new reflex. So that starts to become my new default or my new baseline. I felt really skilled this past year, I would say, with more of the access work of like getting into question and those types of things, being able to reframe that. But now I'm getting that I require more of this kind of emotional piece, if you will, in the sense of just being general and dwelling in that space more often. So for me, what is working is then being in a session like the daydream session or a meditation, but really training myself to feel good, to go general, right? And get out of needing to solve the problem. I don't need to solve the problem. I will shift where I'm at by finding peace and allowance, not making it wrong, right? Just being, okay, it's cool. Because the thing is, when you're going into fix it, you're basically saying you're not okay with the current situation. I need to fix this. I need to solve it. You basically say it's wrong. And that's what I was doing, right? Even though I'm not overtly judging it, but I was, because I was like, this is bad. I need to shift it. I need to shift this. I need to fix it. It needs to be something else. But what shifts it is true allowance and peace for right where you're at, and then put your attention somewhere else. Get your attention off your perceived problem. Put it on what is working, what could be fun. And for me, it's putting my attention in yoga and trying new poses and just having fun in there. Putting my attention to just daydream or fantasize. I mean, really, the daydreaming sessions are just, putting your attention to something general that feels good, right? That doesn't have you contract, and practicing that over and over again. But really, the key takeaway here is if you start to contract about something, go general and get your attention off it, right? It's counterintuitive. We think we need to think about the problem more and that will fix it. But really, if we are going to shift our reality, we have to be on a different radio station. All right, until next time.